We actually have worms for you today, X-Sabers, and even the Constellar madness. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more on awesome content. This was one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day decks out of the weekend, and this duel has managed to fit all 26 worms into their deck and managed to actually get a win in combination with Branded, which is just such a silly concept because, I mean, the thing is, like, your job is to get to worm 0. And technically, if we can get to this, I mean, there is a little bit of a payoff, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. So I guess it just makes sense to play the stuff with Branded because, you know, having the Albion Dragon be a little assister for your end board is quite hilarious. But this is the kind of stuff that I live to see within the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where somebody comes up with a stupid off-of-the-wall idea and you're just like, no way. You know, worms in the year 2025? Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, to see innovation at its peak. I love this. Next up here, we actually have some X-Sabers. Now, I was curious, you know, what are people looking at right now for these X-Saber variants? Because, you know, this deck's not really that good. You know, you're not really going to be, you know, building some crazy boards with this. And honestly, I mean, this build even feels very, very reminiscent of old school. I mean, they got a Pot of Avarice in here, man. But they did do a pretty decent run through their Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, which kind of made me want to look at this list. You know, we're also playing a card destruction here. I mean, you kind of do have to get rid of some of the X-Saber bulk, as I'm going to call it, because you have to be able to get off of the ground on the initial setup. So you kind of have to look at bits and pieces like this, and you're going to have to go, oh, hey, you know, this is the kind of stuff that actually does kind of work out, at least for getting the deck cleared up and being, you know, a little bit more stable with things. So I think that this does help out very, very nicely. Next up here, we have Tellarknights. Now, to try to make the most consistent Tellar pile that you can make, you're going to have to play some of the old Tellarknight cards. I don't think you're going to get away with playing these, but you don't have to play them in maximum numbers. I mean, the reason for this is because obviously the Tellarknight Constellar does require you to have these present so that you can actually use their effects. That's kind of your trade-off, right? You see these bits and pieces and you're like, oh, hey, you know, I can make use of these. Once we start to get the lines going, then it does work out very, very nicely. So I do appreciate this. Like, this is mandatory, and of course, you are maximizing pretty much on the main deck stuff. And of course, down the extra deck, just the 1 Omega 7 and the 2 Deltaros. If you're going anything beyond that, I think you are just going to be hurting yourself. Like, you have to keep things consistent. If you're going beyond that, it's not really worth it. Next up is Infernoid. Surprisingly enough, though, I see that Noid has got to be very careful if they're choosing to play this, because this does provide a very hard lock for this deck. You know, locking you just strictly into Shaddolls from the extra deck is really, really rough. So I was kind of curious, and it's like, why are we exploring this? Well, it's because, you know, if we have to drop Evil to basically start a combo, we can kind of do so, but it just kind of comes into one of those options. It's like, hey, you know, we can reverse engineer into the Grista, for example, if we have to, because, you know, getting the initial setup for that is pretty strong. But it's an interesting takeaway, but most of the time, Noid's going to want to access its Exceeds to keep the extra bodies off of the field. But this is kind of what you're dealing with right now for Noids. Next up here, Battle Footballer. Really? The OCG has been cooking with the most obscure, and I truly mean the most obscure concepts that you can really think of out here, just because they tend to work out with this, right? Like, Battle Football is your vanilla choice, and this is going to be kind of the cool thing when you look at these Odeon lists, right? It's like, which vanilla monster can I kind of incorporate into the strategy and be able to get those best results for me? I mean, obviously, yeah, a 2100's a pretty decent stat line, but I've seen things like Vorse Raider coming out, for example. But if you can really just get this thing set up and use it kind of as what it's intended to have it be the vanilla monster to kind of hold the line for you, then it's going to work out just fine. It's just like, what bells and whistles do we need to have to actually have this card be very, very solid? Next up, more Shaddolls. Now this is the good stuff, honestly. We get to see why this deck is the monster that it is. Infusion deployment has just been going 9,000 miles an hour for this, and honestly, this is why we like this deck. Also being able to go Shaddoll Fusion. Blazing Cartesia really just slots into this deck very, very nicely. Like, you're not really losing out too much on having access to this. You're also noticing most of these builds are only playing the 1L Shaddoll Fusion. You're not really going too crazy on this. But now, you know, Resh Shaddoll, Incarnation, and Schism are both going to be important cards. Because the minute you know, drop down Lev, you're going to have to mill down the Evil, whose job is then to go get you Liberation. And then from there, you're going to start to bridge into the other little packages that you've got. So I think, all things considered, that works out very, very nicely. Next up here, we have Madolches with P.U.N.K cards. Alright, so I guess we've just decided that making X-Saber Invoker is just the saving grace for this deck, right? Like, you want to be able to turbo through things a lot easier, and once you start to get through those initial setups, and I feel like this deck really starts to shine. Right? Well, I mean, the Hush Psychic Minister here, if you control a Psychic monster, there's a free special from the hand. Yeah, that's really, really good, because guess what? We once again get to turbo into the Invoker, but you're putting... I personally feel like you're putting way more of an emphasis within this particular list. You're putting more of the emphasis on exploring the Madolche side, and the Psychic cards are just a little bit of extra fat that you were just like, hey, you know, we can toss this in. It's not really going to do anything too much for our game plan, but we can give it the time of day, I guess. Next up here is more Dark Magician. Well, first of all, surprised to see the P.U.N.K Karibo coming to town here, which is kind of cool, but we're also playing the Magi Karibo as well. Okay, so we just chose to play all of the good stuff, but also you're going to notice there's the 3 Brave Sword Souls. This card has really changed a lot of the fundamentals that I feel like we see within this space for this deck, because now it's just way more consistent. Getting a level 4/8 spellcaster is really, really good. We are playing the Dark Magical Circle altar. I love that. Same thing with the Secrets of Dark Magic. And of course, yes, we are playing the Shining Sark package in here. No matter if you're a fan of the Shining Sark stuff or not, this package is just too free, because it's literally one Shining Sark turns you into the Dark Magician of Destruction, which then technically leads into a Dark Dragoon. And you're initially just set up for the big power plays. Like, it seems so good. Next up, Monarchs. First of all, I guess congratulations on performing with Dark Arm Dragon in your deck. I don't know how. I guess this is also searchable, right? Because it is 2,800 for one of the stat lines, if I recall. Yeah, 2,800 and 1,000 defense. Yeah. You can actually search for Dark Arm Dragon off of the Return of the Monarchs, and it actually does see play. Okay, man. We have not seen that in so long. Okay. The rest of this list, I think, looks a little bit samey. One domain feels a little bit weird, but if your opponent does break your domain, you're just losing the game anyway. There's really no comeback from that. It's like, oh, hey, you know, you broke it. I'll go ahead and I'll pick up my cards now. Like, you need this one domain to stick around, and if your opponent cracks it, you're done. It's game over. And we have Sky Striker, Yummy Mathmech. Who the hell would this duelist cook? Like, obviously, like, there is a lot of weird things in this list that I guess just comes together, you know. give me a sec. I gotta process this. So Mathmech full combo. We do have access into the Gemmador, which doesn't really matter, but also Sky Striker splits apart into 2 bodies, which then inadvertently just gives us technically, I guess, access into this depending on where we're going. We're also playing Link Devotee in here. Huh. I guess. This is a pile of cards for sure. But what do you guys think? Please do comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. And bye-bye. Patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.